Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is the Ramsey Show, where we help people win in their life, specifically their money, their relationships, and their work. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by fellow Ramsey personality, my esteemed colleague, George Camel. It is always good to be with you. I threw in the esteem today.
I've never felt more esteemed.
Well, we haven't been on together in a while due to our busy life schedule, so it's always good to be in the studio with the one and the only George Camel.
The energy is palpable.
It's palpable. The phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. George is ready. I'm ready. And I think Sammy might be ready in Orlando, Florida. Sammy, how can we help?
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
We are having a blast already. What's going on?
Love to hear it. Hey, I'm just calling to ask advice on what I should do regarding wanting to start a business.
Okay.
I currently work at a hotel. I fold laundry and I do room service, making $13 an hour. And I am 17, going into my senior year next year. And I just wanted some advice on how to go about that and how to introduce it to my family.
Yeah. Tell me about the business.
Oh, the business, it's a print-on-demand business run through Etsy using an AI image generator to make the designs. So you basically tell the AI what you want to create. It creates it for you. You sell those designs on Etsy and make the profit because there's no production costs.
Have you tested this?
Yes, I have.
And how's it going?
Oh, it's good. I started, last week I actually uploaded products and started making, I haven't made any sales, but I have gotten a lot of visits. I think so far 76 visits to my website. So
how much money have you made?
$0.
Zero. He hasn't sold anything yet.
Okay.
So we're a week into this test.
Real fresh.
Yeah, very fresh.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. You said, how do I tell my family or how do I talk to my family about it, which leads me to believe that you're nervous about something or maybe even fearful. Is this true?
Yeah, definitely. It's just that my parents never went to college. So it's like when they were raising us, they were really strong on getting good grades, doing well in school so you can go to college, to work a 9-to-5, a safe job. And honestly, I just don't feel like that's the route for me, if that makes sense.
I understand that, but I think we need to separate you trying this Etsy business from this big, giant conversation about your path in life.
Yeah.
I'd separate the two. So are you still in high school?
Yeah. I just finished junior year.
Okay, good. So you've got another year of high school to begin to think about how you're going to have this conversation with mom and dad, and I'm going to give you some thoughts on that. But this idea of just telling mom and dad that I've launched an Etsy business, is there any tension there? Just telling them, hey, I've started doing this. We're trying it.
Well, I've mentioned it to them, and I did tell them that I started uploading products, but I could tell they were a little iffy about it, and it wasn't really, they weren't really happy, I guess you could say.
What was their objection, if any?
They didn't say anything specifically, but it's just the way they responded to it. They didn't seem like there was that good of an idea, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that stinks and it hurts. Right?
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Anytime we tell our parents something, I mean, I'm in my 40s, and if my mom and dad don't get excited about something, I feel a little tinge there, you know?
And truthfully, they probably don't fully understand it.
I think that's
and that's kind of the tilt head question mark. They understand if you go to an office job and you have a title they can tell their friends about, it's harder to go, oh, he has an Etsy. Have you heard of Etsy? He's got an Etsy shop and he does these T-shirts. It's harder to explain, and it doesn't make them look as good.
Yeah.
And so that part I wouldn't get hung up on.
Yeah. I think you ought to spend more time trying to figure out how to get more traffic. And then, George, you actually have some background with this. I'm putting you on the spot because you can handle it, George. But he's had 76 visits to the site. That's not a lot. And he hasn't sold anything yet. What's he looking for? Because you've done digital marketing, you've been a marketer, and you've also got some technology savvy. What do you think?
Well, number one, you're reliant on Etsy, and the way the Etsy game is played is it's kind of a pay-to-play to show up in the top rankings. So here's what's going to happen, Sammy. There's going to be a lot of competition in the AI space now. You're not the only guy out there who's had the creative idea to do AI print on demand. I think it's a great idea. Let me just put that out there. You could probably do really well with it. But you've got to have a long-term game plan of what happens when there's 30,000 people who are also doing print on demand, who have more money and resources and talent and time than you. So pursue it, but I wouldn't go putting my eggs in the basket until I go, for 6 months straight, I've increased my revenue, and this is enough for me to actually create a profitable business long term.
Yeah. Sammy, my advice on this is, and George is right, so taking George's advice, your mindset needs to be, I'm going to pursue this to learn from it, not pursue it to get rich from it. And that's going to change your expectations. Just learn everything you can learn. There's no risk here. You've already outlined that. I think you got a good head on your shoulders. Now, let me transition very quickly to having this very big and important conversation with mom and dad over the next year, because you're a rising senior. Mom and dads want the best for their kids. And when mom and dad are afraid that the choices their kids are making aren't the best ones, that's when they have the highest objection. You understand that, don't you, Sammy?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So telling mom and dad, this is what I'm doing, deal with it. And I'm not suggesting you're going to go that route, but even just laying it out that way, even with the sweetest of tone, they're going to get really fearful. And so my advice to young people in this situation where you go, I don't think college is for me. Let's go find out for sure if college is not a necessary path. So 2 questions for you that you need to answer for yourself before we talk to mom is college the only way to do what I think I want to do? Is it the best way? If the answer is clearly no, then we've got some real anecdotal evidence and we could sit down with mom and dad and we're very thoughtful and they can see you've done your homework and you show them an alternate path. So for instance, if you want to get into coding and you go, hey, mom and dad, I can go to a coding school for $20,000 and be done in 9 months or whatever, versus go to a school that I can't afford. And they begin to see, oh, Sammy's got a clear path. It makes sense. It's got a nice trajectory for him financially long term. And he's figured out an alternate way besides a college degree to get there. And it's a proven way, George. Now, all of a sudden, I think mom and dad are like, okay, this isn't some big, scary, you've presented us.
Yeah, when you actually go, I'm creating a great income from this, and I don't have any college debt to show for it with some useless degree, I think they're going to respect you even if they don't approve of the path and it's not what they would have done. That's okay. But I think you coming at this respectfully going, I don't want to waste a lot of time and money pursuing this. I'm going to get an education in a different way. I want to pursue entrepreneurship. They may have some ideas and go, great, let's get you a business degree just to get another notch in the belt.
Yeah, I think parents' support, George, is commensurate to how clear your plan is. And they can see, aha, this is doable. And they mean the best, so don't let them get you down. Yep. They're actually trying to protect you. He's George Camel. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. Your calls right around the corner.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back, America. You are listening to The Ramsey Show, where we are here for you. It's your show, America. We're answering your questions so that you can win in your money, in your relationships, and your work. All three of those areas of our life are tied together. If you're losing in one of those areas, it is going to impact the other. It's just a simple fact. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel. We are here for you this hour. The phone number is toll-free. Jump in at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. I want to go to you, George, here because I saw you did this. You did a little poll.
I love a little poll, Ken, on Instagram.
On the gram.
On the gram. And here was the question for the poll.
I love it.
I said, if you're a credit card user, what is the biggest thing holding you back from getting rid of the cards?
All right.
That's how I posed the question. I got tons of responses.
How many people responded, do you know?
A few hundred, at least.
All right.
So this is anecdotally, this is science, basically, at this point.
Yes, that's right.
And I got a lot of the natural responses that we've gotten for 30 years, right? It's the points, the cash back, the rewards. I love getting my free flight. I need it to book hotels and rent cars. And I got to keep up my credit score so I can get a house and get car loans and all of these things. But the one that shocked me, Ken, a lot of people said fear.
Fear of?
Just fear. So I dug in. Okay. I DM'd. I said, tell me more about that. Elaborate.
Right. Yes.
Because that means a lot of things to a lot of people. Some people did admit, they said, hey, this is a safety blanket. It's a crutch. If something goes wrong, I know I'm covered with my line of credit, thanks to 28% interest from the credit card companies. What a blessing.
Right.
But I wanted you to address this idea of fear because you've been leading a financial peace class virtually, and this has come up a lot when it comes to the $1,000 emergency fund scares me. I can't cut up the card because what if?
Right.
There's so much fear, and some of it stems from their childhood. They told me, hey, I grew up poor. We grew up not having money. We grew up where if one paycheck didn't show up, we were screwed.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of empathy for those that have that fear. But you've talked a lot about this on your show, whether it's career or money. Fear is holding people back in a whole lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, a couple things on that. Most of the time, if you actually look at the data, the things that we worry about, which is another placeholder for fear, because I think fear is defined as I'm worried that something bad is going to happen. I just think that's the way I define fear, and I think that's really true. And so most of the time, the things we worry about rarely happen. So that's just some basic psychology study right there, where they the things we worry about most of the time never actually happen. So there's that. The second thing is that people are afraid that they're going to be destitute, broke, so far behind the eight ball that they never recover that they forget that the credit card's going to hit them for 28% versus, and let's give you a real life example. Let's say an HVAC system goes out. Okay, because this is one of the things that popped up in our FPU class. I've got an old HVAC system. I'm going to have to replace it. It's on its last leg. I don't want to be in the house all summer in sweltering heat, not be able to sleep. And by the way, I get all that. I don't minimize any of that. It's like, yeah, I get it. All right, so they think the credit card then is the safety net. So if we have to put $8,000 into an HVAC system or $6,000 or whatever it is, well, we put it on the credit card, no problem. But now we're paying 28% interest as opposed to going to the HVAC company and going, hey, here's my situation. Here's my financials. I need this HVAC system. We're stuck. So we either are with ceiling fans and just fans and whatever we're gonna, or we replace it. Let's say it's in the wintertime. And you go to the HVAC company and go, listen, I can cash flow this and I will cash flow it, and just having a human conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
But just relying on the credit card puts you in more stress and more problems because while you take care of the immediate need, you're stuck with it for a long time. And so I think it depends, George, on the specific fear. But a lot of people just feel like I'm not going to be able to be comfortable and take care of my life. And Les, who was on with me, one of our FPU coaches, we talked about AC going in my car one time. It went. And this was when we first lived here in Nashville the first time, and we were working the baby steps. And I couldn't afford, I could have, but I didn't want to stop the momentum. So, George, I got up earlier and drove into the office an hour earlier so that I wasn't sweating profusely to get into the office.
That's a creative
And at the end of the day, it didn't matter. I was going home. And then one day I was driving home, George, and insult to injury, I came up to a stoplight and it was almost like the debt gods were trying to embarrass me. I got no AC. I'm sweating, hair all over the place because the windows are down. And that, I don't know what you call that, your roof liner inside the car, just all of a sudden detached out of nowhere, and it was sitting on top of my head. I felt it at a stoplight. I look up, and
boy.
And you know how embarrassing that is?
Yeah.
Because you think that everyone at the stoplight is
day.
going, look at this loser over there. It's 100 degrees in Nashville. He's got the roof interior carpet hanging on his head. I went home, was so mad. I got the staple gun out of the storage. Poof, poof.
That's therapeutic right there.
2 staples in the top took care of that problem and it cost me nothing.
Wow.
But what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
You afraid of being embarrassed at the stoplight? I get it.
That's a good question. Is, a lot of people they're very optimistic when it comes to their own stupidity. They're going, yeah, we'll pay it out. We're going to open the car. It'll be great. They're very optimistic when it comes to justifying their spending habits, their decisions, and very pessimistic when it comes to following a proven plan.
Yeah.
Where they go, yeah, having $1,000 is scary and you should be scared. And the problem is when you have the credit card still there, you have a false sense of security.
Yes.
You have a false sense of comfort. And the book, The Comfort Crisis, you guys have been talking about this a lot with Dave. I think we're too comfortable. I think part of the reason America is where it is today, broke, in debt, anxious, miserable, stressed, is because we're aiming for comfort and convenience and the easiest path, the path of least resistance, the most convenient path, instead of going, dang it, I really got to work that extra job to get out of debt even faster. And that's what I love about baby step 1. I don't love that you're scared to death, but I love that it puts a fire under you to go, I wasn't safe ever. I had the illusion of safety.
That's right.
And then once you have the emergency fund in baby step 3, you got out of debt, you don't need the credit card. Like,
George,
I don't understand that mentality of what if.
Because I don't think that they've been taught this. So I think this is I want to tee you up to teach on this. Let's say that the thing happens. We've got $1,000 in baby step 1. But then a $7,000 or $8,000 or $10,000,
Or even a $1,500 expense. They go, well, it's not enough, Ken.
Yeah, but my point is they're all worried about this big thing above and beyond $1,000.
Yeah.
What do you teach? What would you tell them if you're sitting one-on-one with them and go, okay, this is $7,000, $8,000, you only got $1,000? What are their options?
Well, number one, we say pause the baby steps if you've got kind of a storm. And in that case, we're going to pay all the minimums on the debts. We're going to cover the basic bills. Everything else, all the luxuries, they're out the window right now because we got to sell everything we can, work as much as we can to find that gap, to make that margin. Once you've got that expense covered, we're back on track. We're attacking the debt. And in most situations, I've seen they end up not needing the full $1,000, or they pause it and they end up cash flowing it. And make sure you have the right insurance in place. This is something we teach because most emergencies, a health emergency, you're going to have up to your deductible and then you're covered.
Right.
And auto insurance, make sure you've got the right coverage there. These kinds of things help me sleep at night to make sure that I'm covered in case of something crazy happening. But a lot of times it's psychological and it's them justifying why they want to keep the card around.
George, you know the old phrase where there's a will, there's a way. In other words, it means, if I'm willing to figure it out, I'll find a way. Mm-hmm. Do you poke holes in that when it comes to this very scenario, or do you believe that holds true? I'll find a way to not use a credit card. I'll find a way to pay it off. I'll find a way, but I'm not going to use a credit card for an emergency.
Well, when you take debt off the table, if you just, in your mind, pretend and go, credit cards are not an option, debt is not an option, what would I do? If this was the 1930s and debt wasn't marketed as heavily as it is today, what would I do? You'd go, all right, I'm going to go sell some stuff. I'm going to go get the side job. I'm going to cut down all my expenses to bare bones. I'm going to work out a payment plan with the HVAC guy to pay this thing off, and we're going to figure it out. So my challenge to everyone out there is, could you live 90 days without using your credit card? Put it in ice in the freezer, lock it up somewhere, stick to a debit card and cash for 90 days. And DM me if you're going to do this challenge. I want to report back 90 days from now and see how it changes you financially, spiritually, emotionally, if it gets you further down the line to where you want to be financially.
Wow, I love that, George.
Good challenge.
At George Camel on the gram.
Right there with a K. Don't wear it out.
And if you're over the age of 50, that means Instagram.
Thank you for that caveat.
Yeah, there you go. All right, hey, we got to take a quick break, but I mean it is quick. And when we come back, more of your calls, they're lining up. This is The Ramsey Show.
We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
The Ramsey Show continues. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel. The phone number to jump in this hour is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Paying off debt is smart. Saving and investing is smart. But there's another key to winning with money that a lot of people overlook, and that is protecting your finances from emergencies. And that's where insurance comes into play. George, you love you some insurance, don't
I
you?
really do. I don't know why. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, you've always really been good at this content. And so there's 10 kinds of insurance coverage, George, that I know you know that you might need. And we've built
Out
a
of
tool.
what feels like thousands. So we've really curated the only ones you need to think about.
You always make me laugh. If I ever need a good laugh, I could just walk over to your desk and I could say, George, tell me about a ridiculous insurance coverage. And you would say,
Falling coconut insurance. That's real.
that's a real insurance.
Do I want to
folks.
buy it? Yeah. Do I need it? No. I just want to be able to tell my friends.
Yeah. Hey,
Get that falling coconut insurance.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a real problem in some countries, Ken.
it really is.
It's not making the headlines.
It would be a great lead-in to you announcing to your friends and family you were going on a Caribbean vacation. Maybe.
You guys have falling coconut insurance for the Bermuda trip?
Yeah. Want to make sure everybody's prepared.
You don't need that one.
Well, you don't need that one, but we've got you covered. The coverage checkup is a great tool that we've built for you, and it's going to tell you the types you need to add, drop, or adjust. We even rank your coverage by importance, email it to you, and connect you with a Ramsey trusted insurance provider so that you can make the changes or the additions that you need. And this only takes about 5 minutes. One of our users wrote in, his name is Donald. He goes, for anyone who has not completed this checkup, do it now. You never know when something will happen and you never want to leave your family in a bad situation. We agree, Donald. So go to RamseySolutions.com/checkup. That's RamseySolutions.com/checkup. Final word on that, George? Or is that good enough for you?
I was just thinking about some calls we took last week that were real sad because people didn't have the right insurance in place. Medical, auto, not the right liability coverage, all those things matter. So double check it today.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to David, who joins us now in Dallas, Texas. David, how can we help?
Hey, Ken. Hey, George. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I have a question with some of the excess income that I have. So just for some background, I'm just about 27 years old, and I'm through all the baby steps, through step 4, I should say. No debt. I've got about $10,000 in a savings account. That's essentially my emergency fund. And in terms of other investments that I have, I max out my retirement, max out an HSA. I max out a stock purchasing program through my employer. You guys don't necessarily like that, but we'll get to that a little bit later. And so after all of those allocations, I take home roughly $4,600 a month. And when you take out expenses, I expect to be left with something around $44,000 for the year that I just don't really have anything necessarily that I necessarily need to do with it. I'm single, don't have kids, I don't have a house, so I pay rent. That rent's about $1,200 a month. And so I'm just curious what you guys' opinion is about what I should do with that surplus.
Did you say your take-home pay was $4,400?
It's about $4,600 a month.
But then you said you have excess, essentially $3,600 a month.
Correct. Yeah.
How does that work if your rent alone is $1,200? The numbers just weren't adding up for me.
I have $4,600 a month that I take home after all those deductions that I just mentioned, and then rent is about. I should mention too that I have about $8,000 that I get in income from investments that I've made. So it's really about $3,600 that I get from work. From that $4,600, and then for the year I get another $8,000. So that's
not just from your income.
$4,000 overall.
Okay.
Correct.
So are you a homeowner currently? Is that a goal for you?
I'm not a homeowner currently. I would say that a home is probably not in the picture for at least another 3 years.
Okay, and why is that? Is that a job, lifestyle?
Lifestyle more than anything else. I like where I live. I live around a lot of friends and family. And specifically in the section that I live in, homes are fairly expensive. And I like the situation I'm in right now.
Okay. Well, my next goal for you, if you're walking through the baby steps, you don't have kids, you're single, would be to pay off a home early. And it's a great part of your wealth building journey. And so I'd recommend you're in a great spot to be able to do that sooner rather than later. And if you've seen home prices 3 years ago versus today, a lot of people are going, goodness gracious, if I had the money, I wish I bought 3 years ago. So that's my only concern for you, is that home prices are a moving target. In 3 years from now, especially in your area, they're going to be astronomically more expensive. But outside of that, you just get to live, give, and if you want to upgrade the car, you want to increase the emergency fund, you're doing all the right things. You've got this savings and investing muscle down. I want to see you flex it more in the giving and spending side. My guess is you don't spend a whole lot of money.
Maybe a little more than you would expect. I definitely enjoy going to sporting events and doing some traveling.
Good.
So there is some income there.
So you're balanced there.
Spending that happens there. But
okay.
It's not hugely, it doesn't put a big dent in my overall income.
Good. Well, I would set some goals. Right now with your goal list, and if just the goal is investing for the future, that's fine. You can park it in some index funds if you've got a home purchase down the line, but I would want to put it down on a house sooner rather than later for sure.
Yeah, thanks for the call, David. All right, let's go to Los Angeles next. John is there. John, how can we help?
Hey, gentlemen, how's it going?
Oh, we're having a blast, John. What can we do for you?
Hey, so I'm on baby step 3. My wife and I, I'm 30, she's 27. We just paid off $100,000 in debt.
Woo!
And so we're aiming to have our 3 months by September.
Nice.
But really just, after the pandemic, trying to have vision for our life longer term. I wanted to ask, for the early baby step adopters, what do you suggest to do as a gap fund for those who want to semi-retire in their early 50s or mid-50s, since you can't take out of a 401k until 59 and a half?
Good question. Okay, so we'll call that work optional, where you get to choose what you do, how much you work, versus I got to keep this job because I need the money.
Correct. Yes.
Well, so I would max out all retirement options first, which would be, your 401ks, IRAs, HSAs, all of that stuff. And beyond that, what people use in order to do that is called a taxable brokerage account. So this is just money outside of retirement that you invest. And let's say you're 50 and you're not going to be able to tap into the 401k till 59 and a half. You've got to have enough money in that account to tide you over for 9.5 years. And that's very dependent on your goals, your lifestyle, your expenses, all of that. So you've got 20 years to plan that out, which is great.
Yeah. Now, let me just tell you something, John. If you think you're just going to not work and all of a sudden have plenty to do, there are a lot of retirees that are getting back into it because it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. So I love the strategy, and it gives you options, my friend. But as you get to that age, know that you need to be very, very active, and even with hobbies, you might want to be doing something more productive, and just keep that in mind. We've got a lot of these young people, and I'm not saying it's his situation, but you're familiar with this financially independent, retire early.
Yeah. Big movement.
And this is not John. Let's be very clear. But a lot of them they're working crazy hours. I mean, give them credit, crazy work ethic, but they're working to try to make a certain nest egg by 40 and never work again. And we're beginning to see some of the leaders of that movement who have already announced
they either get bored or
we're
go
going
broke.
back to work. Right. And there's something to that, this idea of being productive and doing something. And I like how you called it work optional. What does that look like? What does that feel like? But
I'd rather sink my teeth into something I love for the next 20 years instead of something I hate in order to retire early.
Yeah, and here's what I want people to understand. We're all about investing, so you have options. But I think retirement as I'm never going to work again is overrated.
There's a lot on Netflix to catch up on, Ken.
Financial peace is not overrated.
That's true.
And options are not. And our investment strategy is going to get you there. All right, good stuff. All right, don't move. More of your calls coming up. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, George Campbell. The phone number to jump in on the conversation is 888-825-5225. We're going to talk about your money. We'll talk about your relationships and your work, because all of those are just very, very relevant to you having a peaceful and successful life. 888-825-5225. Amarillo, Texas is where Manny joins us. Manny, how can we help?
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call, but I'm just really torn and kind of stressed about the situation I'm in. Just to give you guys a little background, I just graduated college last December. I played football in college, had a pretty successful career there, and I gave it my best shot at the Fort Hays. It's a D2 in Hays, Kansas.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
so
position did you play?
I had a pretty successful receiver.
Nice. All right. George doesn't understand any of that we just talked
I'm learning
about.
some. I'm taking frivolous notes.
But I find it to be interesting, and I'm trying to bring him along when I can. Anytime we can talk sports on the show, it's good for George. And
it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, but I had a pretty successful college career, so I gave it my best shot at the NFL, ended up talking to some scouts and everything, and short story, basically didn't end up making it, didn't end up getting a call. So now I'm back home. I've been applying to some jobs, and now I'm kind of torn between should I do a commission job or should I do I've applied to both jobs. I've gotten a job offer in Dallas commission, financial advisor, and I think that would be awesome. I think I would do great at that. But my parents don't know if that's the greatest decision.
Why?
I don't have just because the rent there is super expensive. And honestly, I don't have much money to my name right now. But at the same time, there's no commission cap, but there's no base. And that's kind of why they're really worried right now.
Okay.
And I got a job offer somewhere else that's just $50,000 annually. And I don't know if I should just take the $50,000. That way I know what I'm making, or if I should bet on myself. My parents said they would help me with the rent a few months, but at the same time, I don't want them. I'm 23 years old, so I don't want them to be worrying about me. I feel like I should be worried about myself. So.
Well, my colleague, George Campbell, there's no one better on the planet to address this whole rent issue. All right, so I'm going to bring George in a second, but I'm going to focus in on what I heard. And what I heard was option A, as you presented to us, 2 job opportunities. Option A is a job that you described in detail and you described with great excitement. And then you told us about job B, but I know nothing about it other than it offers you a $50,000 base. And so when I listen to that, it makes it very clear to me, tell me if I'm wrong, that the job in Dallas that is in the financial advising, investing space, you're genuinely excited about it. And even though it's straight commission, the athlete in you, the competitor in you, you want to give that a shot. And B, option B, literally when you think about it, your soul starts to seep out of one of your ears. That's what I'm hearing. Is this true or false?
That is very true. But the reason I feel like that for option B is because, I can work there for 10 years and then get a $5,000 raise. Well, I'm still, I'll never be financially stable. I feel like at that.
It doesn't matter what your reason is. The point is, we have some real enthusiasm and fire for option A. And if mom and dad are willing to help you and you can swallow your pride for a couple months until you figure it out, I'm open to that. But this is where I want to bring George in. George, I get what mom and dad are saying. Dallas is expensive, or certainly more expensive than Amarillo. But I think he's got more options than he realizes, where he may not even have to tap mom and dad's money for a couple of months.
Yeah. So what would rent be for on your own?
We're looking about $1,400-$1,500.
Okay, what about a 2-bedroom where you get a roommate?
I don't currently know anyone in Dallas. I've thought about that. Yeah.
Okay. I think we can overcome that with mutual friends and Facebook groups and all kinds of things and good vetting. You're not going to have a crazy roommate. But let's say you had a great roommate and you got a 2-bedroom for what? $1,600, $1,700?
Yeah, probably about 17.
Great. Now your rent is $850. And now we can reasonably, even if we don't make $100,000 the first year, we're able to afford that. And could you work nights and evenings while you get your book of business going for your financial advising role?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And when do they want you to start?
Second week in July.
So how much money, if we worked our tails off, could we make between now and moving to Dallas, where you've got yourself set up for 2 to 3 months and we're not even asking mom and dad for money? Could you do that?
Yeah, I could do that. It's coming pretty quick, maybe a few weeks, but I could probably gather up some money for sure.
I'm just saying, man, you're an athlete.
Do you have any debt?
Yeah.
Go work hard, dude.
I got school for free, yeah.
Amazing. You got no debt. Let's get a little pile of money for some moving expenses and to, get settled in.
I'm telling you, man. George, he can make $1,000, $2,000 between selling stuff, doing stuff, working like crazy. At least I'm going to challenge you to do that, Manny. Here's the other question I have that I want George to hear on this money and budgeting thing as you get started. Is this a true straight commission gig, or are they going to give you some type of a very small base, or is it straight commission?
Something that I really like is it's.
You broke up. Is it straight commission?
It's straight commission. Yes,
okay,
sir.
And then what are they telling you as what they believe? If you do things the way they train you, what do they think your ramp up period looks like to where you actually start making your first commission? What are they telling you?
Couple months until I make actual money, but
Great.
The projected first year is 94. So
dude,
just like you said, the athlete in me just wants to go for it and work my tail off.
Bro,
see what happens.
You listen. You tried out for the NFL from a D2 football program. I understand what kind of a leap that is. I'm not worried about you, and I think you tell mom and dad, look, I'm betting on myself, mom and dad. I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to end up under a bridge. And I think George gave you some very good tactics here, George. And I think if he saves up some money, he really works hard to try to find a roommate. Or here's one. Why don't you try to find an old lady in Dallas who's got a room over a garage, like Matt Damon in The Rainmaker? This is possible. Yeah. I'm serious.
You can get creative for sure. I think if you want it badly enough, I'm the guy who moved across the country with the hopes, starting here at Ramsey Solutions as an intern and a temp. And I think you're going to look back with a regret if you don't do this.
That's exactly right.
Right.
So, and keep in mind, we put a restraining order on George for a while. But,
it was a thing.
After it was lifted, he finally made it here. George, I love this. Thank you for the call, Manny. We really believe in you. I think
there's a lot of Mannys out there right now.
There really are. And I love where, again, you just said, look, there is a way to figure out how to not get the nicest, brand newest, shiniest, most expensive apartment where all the hipsters are at the pool, you know?
And, when I first moved here, I was way out of town. I wasn't close to downtown Nashville. I had a roommate or two. I got my rent low. My expenses were low. I wasn't going out to eat every weekend. Do
you remember the numbers? Roughly?
Yeah, I want to say when I first moved here, it was like $1,200. And so my rent was $600.
Nice. How'd you get the roommate?
It was an old friend from college that had also moved
I thought
to
you were going to
Nashville.
say an old fart, the way
It was
you
an
said
old
that.
fart. No, I didn't live with an old person. I would. I think it'd be great to live with an elderly folk.
Yeah, it would be. You
Yeah.
wouldn't have to worry about noise.
No, they'd always go
They're
to bed
in
before
bed
I
at
did.
9:30 after they're watching Murder, She Wrote.
I would watch Golden Girls reruns with them. I'm an old soul. But there's a great lesson there. If Manny wants it badly enough, he's going to figure it out.
And that is absolutely what we're saying here. And what are your thoughts on mom and dad? You know, we don't know the situation. I don't want to project too much on them.
Yeah.
But again, we were talking about fear earlier in this hour. Mom and dad have a healthy dose of fear when Manny goes, I want to go to Dallas and I want to do this. And
It comes from a good place.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. It's not toxic. They just want their kid to be successful, whether it's for their own reputation or because no one wants to see their kid fail.
Yeah.
They don't want to see their kid struggle.
Yeah.
But I think them letting him experience this, whether he fails or not, is the healthiest thing they can do.
I think that's true. So good. All right, young man. Thank you, Manny, again for the call. I love this. And this is a guy who went for it for the NFL. He's not worried about failing. I'm
not getting in his way.
No.
Physically or career-wise.
Good idea, George. Hey, George Campbell, good hour. I want to thank James and the entire crew behind the glass to keep us on the air. I want to thank you, America. This is your show. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Ken. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show. It's where we help people win with their money, their work, and their relationships. I'm Ken Coleman. George Campbell joins me this hour. It is a free phone call for you to jump in, and that's what we do. We coach you, we counsel you, we cheer you on. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. 225. You ready to go, George? You
Game on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, you got the
Yeah, I just had some green tea with honey.
I got the
courtesy of
green tea
Ken.
with honey as well. And so I'm ready to go as well. Let's go to Megan in Des Moines, Iowa. Megan, how can we help?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
My question is I have about $80,000 in student loan debt. That's all of my debt. And about $40,000 of that is in private loans. One of my loans is $20,000. So that's a lot of breaking down. But that loan is my smallest loan at $20,300. My concern is that the interest rate just went up again to 11.25%.
Ouch.
I got an offer to refinance my private loan, and it would refinance it to a rate of 7.25%.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, I know that interest rate isn't always the end-all be-all of it, but that's a huge jump.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's how we view student loan refinancing. Now, generally, we're not a fan of refinancing because it kind of makes you feel like you did something. But student loan refinancing can be a good move, and I'll tell you the parameters. So check off these boxes as I say them out loud, right? Number one, it's free to make the change. No application fees, origination charges, whatever fees they want to throw in there. No fees. Number two, you've got to keep a fixed rate or move from variable to fixed. You said it's a fixed rate currently. Right?
The one that I have currently is a variable rate.
Okay,
It
good.
would be going to a fixed rate.
Love it. Great. Another box checked off there. Then you've got to keep the same term or shorten it. Is that the case with this one?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how long my current one is, but it would be going to a 5-year term.
Okay. Then in that case, I would go through with it in order to chop down some interest without causing you any further financial damage here, without losing any gazelle intensity, because you want to pay this thing off really fast.
Yeah, I'm slated. If I have all my numbers right, I should have the $20,000 one paid off by the end of this year.
Love it.
And so that was part of it. If it would still be worth it if I'm going to be paying it off by the end of 2023.
Yeah. I would absolutely do it then. And you can get quotes from other places too. Maybe don't take just the first offer. You can go through some different companies and see what they offer, but always make sure they're not charging you anything. You're going to a fixed rate, and that you get a shorter term or the same term.
Thanks for the call, Megan. Good advice, George. Let's go now to Allentown, Pennsylvania. Connie is waiting. Connie, how can we help?
Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I am a 62-year-old divorced single mom. My daughter's 22. She just graduated college. My question is, I owe $84,000 on a mortgage. My salary is $39,000, and I do have some $10,000 in a Roth and a 401k. My concern is, and my reason I'm calling, is I'm terrified that I'm not going to be able to retire and pay off my house at my age. I feel like I'm basically starting over. I work second jobs. I just don't know how to get ahead. And also, my main question is, when I do work second jobs, do I put that money in savings, or do I work on paying off the mortgage? That's my first question.
George, before we dive in on this, Connie, I'm curious to know what you're making. What is your income in your main job, and then what are you bringing in these second jobs? Give us a snapshot.
At $39,000 is my salary.
Okay. And what do you do?
And that's my full-time job. I am a secretary.
Okay. All right. And then what are you bringing in from the second jobs? Give us an example.
It varies.
Okay.
It really varies. I've done home health care. I've done, I also do some crafting where that's kind of closer to Christmas. I bring in some extra money that way. I am looking at, and I love your opinion on this. I do QuickBooks at my job, and I was thinking of possibly doing that part-time on my own, maybe picking up.
I think you could do that full-time and double your income.
Let me give you an example. I was looking at this today, George. Connie, I was reading this today before the show. I was looking at what is the current list of some of the best paying part-time jobs, and bookkeeping is one of them. And in certain places, now again, you got to kind of see what the lay of the land is in Allentown, but you can make as much as $40 an hour doing bookkeeping part-time. Connie, that's good money. Yeah. And George is right. You could transition into a role like that because there's just so many opportunities for you right now. And that's why I wanted to start here, because George is going to walk you through the answers to your questions, but I'd like to see you increase your income in meaningful ways, not like crafts here and there, but okay, if I can work an extra 10 to 15 hours a week, and let's say I'm in that $20 to $40 an hour range, that's real money, Connie. And George is going to teach you how to use that. So let's work on that QuickBooks skill. And you could take several other classes or courses that you can cash flow that give you more opportunity to do freelance work like that. And nobody cares how old you are, by the way.
Right.
And you've got a lot of transferable skills. Even as a secretary, you could do office management. You could be an executive assistant. You could do some of that virtually part-time. And so I would get creative and get excited about what that could do for you as far as savings and retirement. So to your question,
great.
Do you have any money saved for emergencies currently?
I do. I have, I have about $18,000 in savings, $10,000 in a 401k, and $7,000 in a Roth.
Okay. So we've got a good start here. What we need to do is continue down the path of investing for retirement. So I would do 15% of your income, regardless of what it is. Add in all your side income, any part of your income, 15% towards retirement. Then on top of that, I would start chipping away at the house with whatever's left. Right now it may not be a lot, but if you double your income, let's have a goal for a few years from now. We have no mortgage payment and we've built up a nice little nest egg so that we can have a dignified retirement. That's my goal for Connie.
Yeah, and she can do it. Fantastic. Love it, love it. I think should we connect her to one of our financial coaches, kind of help her through
I would
this?
love to do that.
Let's do that. Connie, hang on the line. We're going to take care of you and get you with one of our financial coaches.
We're going to pay for a session.
We're going to pay for a session and get you that jump start into what George told you, because there is a way and you can do it. You aren't too old. You've got plenty of time. Thank you so much, Connie. Hang on the line. For the rest of you, don't move. More Ramsey Show coming up.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, George Campbell. The phone number, if you want to jump in on the conversation, is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Raleigh, North Carolina is where Peter waits. Peter, how can we help?
Hey, how are you guys doing today? It's good to be on. I think you guys are both really cool.
Well, let me tell you something. I appreciate
I've heard that.
I have 3 teenagers, and they remind me all the time how cringy I am, so I'm going to hold on to that the rest of the day. Thank you, sir. George, on the other hand, is always cool. Me,
means the world.
It's very rare that this happens, so thank you, Peter. How can we help?
You're welcome. Yeah, so my wife and I are on baby step 2, and we've actually kind of had to pump the brakes a little bit because we're having our second son in about a month.
Hey,
so we've been able to save.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we've been able to save about $3,000 extra dollars in preparation for that. Man, we were hitting the ground running, paying off stuff, and we're like, let's save up a little bit. But actually, I just want to make sure I'm on the right path here. I'm hoping by the end of next year we'll be debt-free, fully funded emergency fund. I'm getting about a $50,000 raise in February.
Wow,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
What are you currently making?
Just wanted to know. Currently $70,000, so it's going to be bumped up to about $120,000.
Heck yeah,
Peter.
Let's go, buddy.
Let's just pause for a moment. What did you do to get that raise? That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm actually a UPS driver.
No kidding.
And yeah, so from the 3rd year to the 4th year, it's a pretty substantial raise.
I'm so glad that we asked, and I'll tell you why. Because I want people to hear that you can make really good money wearing an all-brown outfit, some great thick brown socks, and driving a truck. I mean, that's a big deal. That's good work, man. Good for you.
Yeah. It's good hard work, and it provides, for my wife.
Good for you.
Myself and our 2 kids, so I'm grateful.
Good for you. All right, keep going, Peter.
Yeah, so we're $40,000 in debt. We have student loans, personal loans, HVAC loans, credit cards. And so my projection is we will be debt-free hopefully by June of next year. Does that sound doable, you think? Or we are a little house poor right now, and we knew kind of we would be before we started the baby steps.
Is it a mortgage?
We would be kind of. It's a mortgage, yep.
Okay, what's the payment on that?
So the mortgage is $1,300, but with the escrow in there, that's another $600 with the escrow rolled into it. So it's about $19.
That's some serious escrow, man.
Yeah, we had to get flood insurance and then homeowners insurance and then property tax. So it's about our mortgage is about $1,900 a month right now.
Okay, and what's your take-home pay currently?
Yeah, $5,200 a month right now.
All right, and that's going to change drastically. So right now you're at 36% of your take-home pay going towards that mortgage, but once you hit 120, you're going to be right on target. So it's going to be tight, but we know that raise is coming on the horizon, and you're still knocking out some debt along the way. And can you work extra?
Sure. Oh, yeah, we can. I basically work as much as I possibly can. We have an 18-month-old as well right now, so my wife's kind of in the trenches, and she's 8 months pregnant, so I work basically as much as she's okay.
That's wise.
Right now.
Peter, you asked us.
Yeah.
You said, "Is this sound right? Can we pay it off, be debt free next June?" I think the question is for you. What did you base that on? How much money, based on the amount of debt you have and the amount of money that you have said, okay, this is what we're going to be able to put on each month. The question is it doable for you? Is it doable? Or have you over projected?
No, I think it's doable. We're able to save. Leading up to this moment, we're able to save about an extra $1,200 a month with our lifestyle. And then, once the baby's born, we can put all that towards debt.
Sure.
And then with that, and then our lifestyle is not going to change once we get this pay raise. We want to get debt free and get that emergency.
You're going to do it. I love it. And here's the deal. I appreciate the question, Peter. But the reason I brought it back up is because, and George can speak to this too, but when Stacey and I went through our debt-free journey, stuff happened. And you can put it on paper, which is what you should do, and you can project, and you can be disciplined, and then stuff happens. So if something happens and it ends up being August, that doesn't matter. What matters more is what you just said, which is our lifestyle isn't going to change. Once I make more money, we're committed to being debt-free, and I think that's what matters. So
give yourself grace. But also what I like to do is set a goal that scares me just a little bit, to where I go, whew, I don't know if we can make that, but we're going to try.
I love that.
And then try to beat that as you get your feet under you. That's usually what happens more often than not versus, it took us a month longer. And if it does, dude, you're still debt-free a month later. Way to go.
All right, Peter, I'm going to turn the tables, if it's okay with you. George has got his first child on the way.
Yes, Peter, give me all the advice,
Peter,
man.
you're about ready to have number 2. Give George one piece of advice about parenting a newborn because he knows nothing. What would you tell George?
Just enjoy it. Honestly, that's it, man. A lot of people told me it's going to be really hard, but the love that you have for that baby just kind of outweighs how tough it is, honestly.
Beautifully said.
Peter
Poetic.
for the win. That's as good as advice as you'll hear all day on the show. I love that. We turn the tables, George.
We should do that more often. I think our listeners have a lot of wisdom to impart to us.
It's absolutely true. All right, let's go to New York City, New York. The Big Apple. John is there. John, how can we help?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
I'm 24 years old. I managed to save just under $100,000.
Wow.
I have zero debt. And, making now nearly $130,000 a year.
Wow, John! Slow clap for you, my friend.
Thank you, appreciate it. It's taking some sacrifice, but I'm just wondering if I do want to get my first real estate property. I'm wondering if now's a good time, or if I should wait. Or I hear so many different things.
Tell us about it. Give George the details.
Is this a primary residence, or are you wanting to get into real estate investing?
No, so I still luckily live at home. I have no payments on rent or anything, which is why I've been able to save so much.
Okay.
I'm really not in a rush. I mean, it'd be nice to live on my own, but I do want to it's my first property. This will be a investment property.
Okay, so why not get yourself a place?
I think I don't know. I'm not in a rush to.
Are you living with your parents?
I am, yes.
Well, let me tell you something. You're no loser, okay? Everybody heard your story. But, I mean, either mama's cooking is good or you're just cheap, or maybe a combo. What's the story?
It could be both, yeah.
You're a numbers guy. You're looking at this going...
Another thing is I'm not home all the time. I make good money. I work on ships, so I'm gone almost half the year.
Oh, see, okay.
I really don't want to spend.
That makes total sense. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, so you may not like my advice, but when it comes to buying real estate property as an investment, we only recommend paying cash.
Got it.
And that sounds as insane as it is because have you seen the world? They're even more insane, and they're broke. And all the people out there on TikTok, they're telling you to put as little down as possible and then rehab it and then do the HELOC and take the equity out and put it on another property. Dude, these people have debt up to their eyeballs, and they're freaked out. That actually do this stuff. The ones pitching it are making money from their online course, of course. So what I would tell you to do is if you're wanting to do that in New York City, is that right?
No, I think it's too expensive here. I'd probably go somewhere else. I like Maine a lot. It's cheaper up there.
Because the other side of this coin is being a long-distance landlord is tough business. So I would try to get something more local, somewhere that you can actually go check out whenever you want to check in on the property. And if that means we're getting a spot, outside of the city by a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, so be it. But I would move at the speed of cash. So when is the right time to buy real estate investment property? When you have the cash to do it.
How old are you,
you can
John?
find a deal.
Got it.
How old are you, John?
24.
Yeah. My friend, you're crushing it. You've already been able to put $100,000 in the bank. You're 24. Now, whether or not you choose to believe George or not, he's right. Everybody tells you, just use the bank's money, blah, 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 riches untold. But here's the deal. If you choose to believe George and do it the right way where you have no risk, no stress, how much longer would it take you to get $200,000 more in the bank? You're only 24. You could be a multimillionaire as a result of waiting 5 or 6 years.
Or no expenses, making
no
130.
Expenses. Just keep stacking the cash, my friend, and you're going to be way ahead of everybody else, I promise. Wow. That dude,
it's impressive.
He's a hard worker. I like that. Really good stuff. George Kamel, Ken Coleman with you right now. We're going to go away for just a few moments. Don't you go away. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey folks, you know that sinking feeling when you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate. Plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by George Kamel. The phone number to jump in on the conversation is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. The question of the day is brought to you by Neighborly, your hub for home services. Neighborly has local service providers to repair, maintain, and improve your home. I could put in there to keep Ken married because I can't do anything. You know what I mean? And so I need resources like this. Their network of experts offers top quality work and customer service by trained, reliable service providers. Find the help you need at neighborly.com today.
Today's question comes from Alan in Ohio. He writes, I live in an apartment, but I'm looking to get a home in the next year to year and a half. I work as a design engineer and currently make $25 an hour. I've got $25,000 in student loan debt to the government, and I graduated in May of 2020. I want to know of any side hustles that can help me pay off my student debt and help me build a comfortable life for a future family.
Thanks for the question, Alan. I love this question.
Great
and when you talk about somebody of Alan's credibility, or the word I'm looking for is actually pedigree, because he goes to school and he gets an engineering degree, right? And so engineers can command really good money, not just in salary, but in freelance hourly rates. And the freelance economy is what it's being labeled as right now. The gig economy is another term you hear. It's just fancy language for it's a side hustle. It's above and beyond my full-time job. And professional white-collar skilled jobs have more freelance opportunity than ever before, George, because of this weird economy we're in, where we have 10.1 million jobs available, but only 8 million people unemployed. So companies are also worried about recession, and so they've cut back. So instead of hiring a full-time employee, they're looking for a contractor. And you've done this work before. And in his situation, where I would start, the practical advice is his top 2 or 3 skills is where he's looking. as an engineer. And he's separating those, and he's going, okay, I'm really good at this, this, and this. And so now he's looking out there where are freelancing opportunities, because he brings credibility in that degree and everyday experience. And that's where he's going to get the biggest bang for the buck, is actually his professional skills.
Absolutely.
Now, he can do other things that we're going to talk about in a minute for everybody, but you've done this.
I
Early
lived
on,
this out.
you actually did this, and I wanted you to share this because you made really good money using your existing professional skills.
Yes. So first of all, I was willing to do anything, and so I was driving for Uber and Lyft and doing some of the normal
You were
side
an
gig
early
economy
adopter
stuff.
on that.
I got some sign-on bonuses when they first came to Nashville, when Uber and Lyft showed
Wow.
up. So they gave me like
Yeah.
$1,000 to do like 3 rides. It was great. So it was some
That's awesome.
great side money. But beyond that, I went, I don't like driving strangers around. It's not something I enjoy. Can I find a side gig I enjoy doing that I'm good at? That's when I went, I've got marketing skills. And I found this post I did, Ken, back in, this is 2019. I was trying to save up for our down payment
Is this
for the
from
home.
your personal blog?
This is my personal blog, my Zanga page. Here's what it says. If you need help with social media, email marketing, branding, copywriting, content creation, website creation, podcasting, video, audio production, keynote presentations, DM me for consulting work. And I got some great gigs helping small business owners, authors, speakers build websites in Squarespace.
How
I was
much?
making $1,500 a website.
$1,500.
Yeah.
And were you using one of those?
The website in a box, Squarespace.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that was one. I did marketing consulting back in when I was getting rid of my consumer debt. I think I made $23,000 doing that part time.
Yeah.
Nights and weekends.
It's very doable. All right, so let's also bring this down to summer jobs for kids trying to make money for college.
Teachers, too, that are
single
out for the
moms,
summer.
people that are trying to make extra money. We've got an article that we did at RamseySolutions.com. We're not going to go through all of these, and I've got some personal anecdotes, some stories here. What I'm seeing young people do that can be done, quite frankly, by anybody. But you mentioned Uber and Lyft. Let's just say delivering food, delivering groceries, delivering people to places is still a very, very accessible
Much needed.
opportunity. Now, I will say this. It comes with wear and tear on the car. I've interviewed
That's
some of
true.
these drivers. And I think, George, I've
You gotta
never,
weigh it.
You got to weigh that. Like, okay, the wear and tear, insurance, all that kind of stuff, gas.
Yes, make sure that you're covered. Contact your auto insurance. Do not surprise them. If you get in a wreck while driving for one of these apps, you may not be covered.
Yeah.
Don't say I didn't tell you so.
Okay, here we go. Here's some creative things. Photographer, tutoring, in any type of topic there. Also, online teaching is an opportunity for a lot of people.
That's big.
The one that I love on the list, and I'm seeing this, is the reselling. People that are going to flea market, the flea market flipping,
That's big.
you can really score and make some really good money. Now, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, garage sales, yard sales, flea markets, even Goodwill.
Yeah.
Buy stuff for cheap and look it up
Fantastic.
on eBay, see what it's selling for, and go clean it up and flip it.
The one that I love sharing, I shared this on my show recently about a young lady who had just graduated from law school, and she was looking to get on with a firm and wasn't finding what she wanted. She's trying to figure it out, and she stumbles into someone who says, I've got some friends who want someone to walk their dogs. They've got 3 dogs. And she says, well, what do they pay? And it's really, it was pretty good in New York, Manhattan.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, that's big money there.
And so she starts doing it, and she realized, like this is really good money for my time. She now makes over $130,000 a year in Manhattan with a dog walking service, to where now she's got so many clients that she farms it out, if you will, to other people. But she's clearing over 6 figures walking dogs.
That's amazing, which is well over $60 an hour, by the way. It's
fantastic.
If you're doing the math at home.
All right, here's a fun story, George. My wife, Stacy, shared this story with me of a young man in our neighborhood right here in Franklin, Tennessee, who's making several $100s a week. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, hit me.
Power washing
This is a big one.
garbage cans.
A power washer costs you can get them for $100.
Yeah. And so you got these nasty, stinking garbage cans. I never even thought about it. And he's going around, he's pressure washing these garbage cans.
You can charge $15, $20 a pop for these.
Yeah.
And it takes you a few minutes.
Yeah. Here's another absurd one. And I say it's absurd that people pay for this. But folks, we live in a world where people have so much disposable income. All you got to do is think about, can I solve a problem? Now, this is absurd. But this is my neighborhood again. This guy's 55 years of age. He's retired, but he does this just for fun. And he's making he's making over $5,000 a month. You ready for this? Picking up glass bottles.
What?
And recycling them for people. They just put them out there. They don't want to get rid of them. They think they should recycle, but they don't want to deal with it. And he goes around and picks them up, and he's charging people very handsomely. But he has several hundred homes where he's picking up.
I know where you live, Ken. I may roll around that neighborhood and see
pick up some glass.
Who's throwing money out. Like, that's wild.
Is that not absurd?
It's a great side hustle. I saw one in my neighborhood painting mailboxes. Your mailbox gets a little weathered, a little worn.
Wow.
We'll repaint the mailbox. So you can get so creative. And let me tell you, dog walking and pet sitting, one of the most lucrative things out there. You can charge $25, $30 an hour.
One of my kids is going to make $1,000 over 8 to 10 days dog sitting another golden doodle who looks just like our dog Ellis.
You know what I did the other day? Got my car
It's
mobile.
happening. My house. James, he's looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm not kidding you. It's 10 days we're watching this dog, $1,000.
That's insane.
That's the market rate.
I might do it.
You might?
Maybe. I'm open to it. But this is another one, Ken. Mobile car detailing. Show up in someone's driveway.
Big bucks.
Use their water spigot and clean their car. I paid a guy to do this last weekend. He did my car. He did such a great job. I said, come back tomorrow, do my wife's SUV.
What'd you charge? What did he pay?
I think it was $100 and maybe $125 for an SUV. So in a few hours, he made $100. Another few hours, another $125, and he can do 3-4 of these a day.
Wow.
That's some serious money.
Yeah.
So get creative, and the more you're willing to put effort in, the more money you're going to make. If you want to sit at home and take little surveys on your phone, you're not going to make good money. I'm sorry.
So why do we spend time on this? Because there are a lot of people that are constantly coming into our atmosphere, watching the show, listening to the show, and they feel like getting $1,000 in baby step one is almost impossible.
It's the wages, Ken. That's the problem.
And the fact is folks, it's never been easier to make $1,000 in quick time frames to be able to get that baby step one funded, and then quite frankly keep that momentum going and walk through baby step two. So you can do it.
It's very empowering.
All kinds of options. By the way, if you want to dive in deeper to that article, RamseySolutions.com.
We're going to link it in the show notes in the description.
Oh, very nice. Thank you, George, for all the podcasters. It's 27 side hustle ideas, RamseySolutions.com. All right, we got to pay some bills. You know how important that is, and we'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show, America. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by George Kamel. We're taking your calls this hour. It is toll-free, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. We have people who tune in to every episode of The Ramsey Show, and they know just about everything we teach about money. They can finish our sentences, and yet they're still feeling very stressed out because they're stuck. Why is this? Because knowing what to do with your money isn't the issue. It's doing what we teach. Personal finance is 80% behavior and only 20% head knowledge. The proven way to change your behavior with your money is by taking Financial Peace University. This class is the difference between trying to get in shape on your own versus hiring a trainer. You'll have a coordinator holding you accountable and other people in the class that are on the same journey, and they're pushing you with their participation. This is why the classes work for millions of people. After 9 weeks, you'll handle money like you never have before, and you'll never go back. You'll make progress faster than ever. So don't just listen to the show. Commit to joining the progress, the actual path through Financial Peace University. You can join at RamseySolutions.com/FPU. That's RamseySolutions.com/FPU. I'm teaching a class right now, George. Have you finished your class?
Mine starts June 20th. So
okay, June
people
20th.
don't know this, but for the first time, all of the Ramsey personalities are leading a class themselves virtually. Ken's is already kicked off, so you can't join that one.
Nope, too late.
It's
too
not
late
too
to miss
late
the
for
party.
me. If you want to join me, June 20th, we're going to be meeting around lunchtime. You can catch the replays if you miss one.
That's fun. I love that.
So that's an
All right.
option.
Very good. Let's go to Beth in Birmingham, Alabama. Beth, how can we help?
Hello.
Hi, Beth. What's up?
Well, I'm calling you with a question. I've been through a divorce, and I have a 5-year-old little girl, so I'm living with my parents. My parents have been so supportive, but I am feeling pressured just by my own, I guess, expectations to move out into like around 2 years. I feel like that's a pretty good goal, but because of what I'm trying to save, I'm nervous that I should rethink my dream of building our house, or I should rethink my time frame. So I was just curious what you guys had to say about that.
See, I think you set this up well. Build it at all, or adjust my time frame to make it more realistic. Which way are you leaning before you even asked us?
Well, I guess I'm struggling with, like, my parents have sat me down and been like, are you kidding? Like, we want to be supportive during this time. Like, they're amazing and they're incredible. But I just feel guilty. And I also feel like through all of this in the divorce, I feel like I've failed in a lot of different ways, but I feel like I just need to be able to show my little girl, I guess I feel I'm putting pressure on myself, but I think sometimes that's good. As a parent, I have expectations for myself, but I do struggle with perfectionism.
But are they realistic expectations? I don't think they are right now.
I don't know.
I don't think they are. I think you've got a timeline in your head that you've pretty much have gotten to the point where you realize this isn't possible. So I'm going to call Ken and George and see if they think I should abandon this dream of building my own home.
I don't like this either.
I don't either.
Pass, fail. If it's not done in 2 years, Beth has failed as a mom. You're an amazing mom.
I agree.
And having a house or not will not change that. And your daughter seeing you build this house or not doesn't change how she sees you.
I would tell you point blank, don't abandon the dream, because you can get there. Now, we're going to walk you through the financial steps to do that, but there's no reason why you should abandon the dream. Adjust the timeline, yes.
And also, Beth, it's okay for dreams to change. Yeah, I would rent for a while.
I'm sorry.
I would rent for a while until you can afford it the right way, and we have very specific parameters to help you do that. And it's wait until you have enough down payment to where you can get a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage where the payment's no more than a quarter of your take-home pay.
Right.
And also, what was this dream house you wanted? Is this like a big house? What were the must-haves?
No.
Why build versus just buy a current home?
Well, I've been looking at homes, and basically what I'm finding in my area is like yeeks. There's just everything's just really expensive, and then it's just not at all what I want. And I could be like, I guess I'm a romantic, but part of me is just like, I want to be able to have this, like, I just feel like it would be something really special to have from the ashes of my situation. Because I've even created it in Excel, like the floor plan and everything.
Wow.
I know that's silly, but
No, hold on a second, Beth. So you've interrupted yourself about 3 times as you attempted to answer George.
Nobody puts my friend Beth down, especially not Beth.
I agree. And this perfectionism that you just admitted to, that's what's going on. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to design your own home in Excel, then you're going to get with an architect one day when you're ready to do this and you've got the cash and the financial situation to do it, and you're going to build a custom home. I believe that, if you believe it. But there's going to be a season where we're building up to that financially. And if you've got to buy a house in the meantime and pay that off, or you put so much down that you get great equity in it, and as you continue to build, then you sell that and you turn that profit into being able to put a huge amount down or all cash on building a home. This is very, very doable. But you've got to decide what must be true in my financial life, then what must be true in my personal life to be able to get to that financial place. And then we just walk that out. And then the time will take care of itself. Right, George?
Yeah. So, Beth, walk us through some numbers here. Do you have any debt?
No, thankfully, I haven't gone through like officially financial piece, but I've gone through the steps. So I have no debt. When I was served papers for divorce, I had $4,000, and now I have $20,000 in my emergency fund. So that's a fully funded emergency fund. And so now I have 9, and I also was a stay-at-home mom. So like God has given me the opportunity to have a job, and I'm making, it's more than I have ever made. It's $60,000 a year. So that's a big deal for me. But so I've got $9,000 for my house down payment savings. So
that's wonderful. No debt, fully funded emergency fund. You've got a $9,000 head start. So now we need to look at what is our savings goal. Is it $100,000? We need to get some real numbers on what this would cost to build this custom home or work with a home builder in an existing neighborhood that can give you what you want. Have you looked into that?
Well, and I've talked with a builder, which he just goes to my church, so it's nothing formal, but it's he said that it's going about $180 per square foot. And so the house that I've planned or whatever, sketched, whatever, is like about 1,800 square feet. So it would be like 300 something.
325. Plus you need the land?
Yes.
Okay.
So with my take-home pay, like I'm only going to be able to afford about $1,200 a month, I think.
Okay. And so then we need to go, this may be a 6-year dream instead of a 2-year dream, which means we can't live, with mom and dad for the next 6 years. Let's have a strategy to where we move out in a year or two, we rent for a while, we get the income up, and we continue to save up that down payment until we can have that dream home. Or we compromise and go, I really want to get in a home faster than that. I'm going to get a $200,000 home, townhome in my area until I can get there. So you have a lot of options, but I don't want it to be either I build this home in 2 years or I'm a failure and I'll never accomplish what I set out to accomplish.
Right.
And this home will not fill any void. And so I don't want you to have the illusion that going through this is going to change that. I want you to deal with the past hurt and grieve what you lost and now create a new picture of what's to come. That's what our friend Dr. John Deloney would say.
Yeah, and Beth, listen, you're a hero to your daughter. I mean, this is about the future, and the best for you is still yet to be. You've got this. You got to believe it and be okay waiting for it while we work for it. That's the hardest part. Thank you so much, Beth. We're cheering you on. Thanks to George Camel for a great hour. I want to thank James Childs, our fearless leader behind the glass, and the entire crew that keep us on the air. I want to thank you, America, for listening. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, George Camel here. If you love the show and you want a deeper dive on your money journey, we've got a weekly newsletter that gives you helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for the newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is The Ramsey Show. It's where we help you win with your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague, George Camel. The phone number to jump in is toll-free. It's 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Let's go to San Diego, California. I love that city, George.
Beautiful.
One of the many reasons, no bugs.
I didn't think about that.
No bugs. We live in the South where mosquitoes can carry a toddler.
I don't go outside unless I have to.
Yeah, not in San Diego, my friend. All right, so Lena Ray is there. Let's go. How can we help? Lena Ray. Hello.
Hi,
Yes.
how are you guys?
We're great. What's going on?
So I'm in a dilemma because I'm in the military and I'm transferring out within the next about a year. I'd say 12 months to 14 months from now. But I'm in the baby steps. I'm currently in baby step number 2, and I'm thinking about selling my car. I just don't know how to go about that. I'm just afraid, I guess, to take the next step and choose a car. How much loan should I take?
No. All right. So first and foremost, we want to say thank you for serving our country.
Absolutely.
You are a great American. Thank you very much for that. Tell us about this car that you're thinking about selling.
So I currently owe $40,000 on it. It is a Tesla.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tesla. You're talking to the right guy
You
today
got me
with
on a good
George.
day.
George likes Teslas.
So you
But
owe
I have a
40.
great interest rate on it.
There's no such thing. I'm sorry to break it to you. The best interest rate is 0% with a $0 payment. That's what I got on my Tesla.
So now, why do you want to sell
I hear
this
you.
Tesla? Why are you calling us, asking us about selling this? Are you? Is it killing you? Is the car payment killing you? Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
And you're not even driving it much?
I'm not driving it much, no.
Okay. And what's it worth?
After plugging in the numbers at a higher value, maybe 38 to 39 right now, and then
Let's say you
lower-
sold it for
the lower
40.
end.
That leaves you with no money to
Right.
buy a car. Do you have any cash on hand?
Just my 1,000 saved.
Okay. And no other debt?
No, I actually do have a lot more debt, and that's why I'm trying to sell it.
Okay. So this
I
is one
have
step.
75 with the car.
What's the other debt?
It's all consumer debt on credit cards.
Okay. Oh, so you got $35,000 in credit card debt?
Yep.
What's the interest rate on that?
The highest interest rate on one of the cards is 27%. The rest are 4%.
Oh, I need some
and
Pepsi
below.
AC immediately. Oh,
okay.
Heartburn.
I'm almost done paying that one off.
Good. Well, absolutely, we are selling this car. Are you going to need a car ASAP to get around?
Yes.
Okay, so can we get you a little beater car? Let's say you waited to sell this Tesla for 3 months, and whatever you have saved in 3 months, we're going to find you a cheap car. Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
What's your income?
Total income, I would say 9,000 after taxes.
A month?
Yes.
And how much of that do you have after paying your minimum payments on your debts? How much could you save towards that beater car?
I'm only paying minimum. I think I can save within 3 months about $6,000.
Okay.
Oh boy. All right, I'm on the hunt. San Diego used car, $6,000. George,
You are
I'm
going to
look
find
some up here.
the exact opposite of what you're driving now. What model Tesla is this?
A Model Y.
Okay. All right. So you're going to miss that Tesla, and whatever's next is going to be the saddest, worst thing you've ever driven. For now. The good news is we're going to get you back in a Tesla if that's what you so choose later on down the line once we are debt-free with a fully funded emergency fund, and we're going to do it with no payments. We're going to pay cash.
I'm ready
Does
for
that
it.
sound good?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad you're willing to make the sacrifice. Most people calling in are even unwilling to sell the car. So the fact that you're going, should I sell it? I feel like I need to. And you have a great income. You're making 6 figures.
Yeah.
So we're going to knock out the rest of this credit card debt real fast without that payment. What's that Tesla payment right now?
$837.
Oof. Can you imagine having almost $900 back in your life to throw at this credit card debt?
$837 a month.
Game changer.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're probably
I know.
paying $800 in interest on those credit cards right now, at least.
Yep.
Oh, Lena Ray, we are pulling for you to knock out this debt fast. Is there any way you can create more income?
Yeah, so I've been doing DoorDash, and I did it for one weekend just to try it out, and only did maybe like 14 hours and made $400.
That's awesome.
Whoa, that's incredible.
The good news about DoorDash is no one gives a rip what you drive.
That's true.
They just care that their food got there and it's still warm and
Isn't
you didn't
that
eat
the
their fries.
truth? And if you're that embarrassed by it, I'm a fan of just pulling 500 yards down the street. They don't see it.
That's true.
Nobody cares, to your point.
Sure.
Good for you. Well, that's awesome.
Lena Ray, drive like no one else until later on you can drive like no one else. You're doing it the right way.
Well said.
Proud of you.
And again, thank you for your service. You are a great American, and you've got this. Let's go to Lincoln, Nebraska, where Jackson is on the line. Jackson, how can we help?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're having a blast. What's going on?
Awesome. Okay, so me and my wife are out of baby step 2. We have baby step 3 done. We were going to save for a house, but I really, really want to be a pilot as my long-term career eventually. And if we go that route, we would be putting off buying a house for several years because flight school is quite pricey and it takes a while. So I just want to know, what would you guys do?
I would do whatever it takes to get through the pilot training without any debt at all. And if that means putting off multiple things, that's what I would do. Because
Absolutely.
there's no reason to have any debt for this. It is expensive, but when you come out of this thing, you're going to be one of the few pilots who have no debt, and you're going to be flying the friendly skies, debt-free, and the house will still be there. So I would do whatever it takes not to go into debt, cash flow it.
How long would that take to save up and cash flow this?
So it's about it's $95,000 for all 7 ratings, and then I have to be an instructor to build my hours for a couple of years. So I'd say it would probably take about 3 years to save up, and then probably another 2 or 3 years to go through everything. Because while doing a full-time job here, it would be hard to go faster than that. So get through the training and everything, and then I'd have to be a flight instructor for maybe a couple of years. So I'm looking at, I mean, it's a long
journey.
It's a long
It's like going
road.
to med school.
It is.
And you have a spouse?
Yeah. Yes.
What do they think?
Yeah, they're very supportive. She's very supportive of me. She wants a house. I mean, we've kind of talked like, hey, we can rent a house eventually. I mean, like, if we want to have more space, we can still rent in the future. And she's okay with that, and she's completely on board as well.
Oh, that's huge.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to be willing to do whatever it takes. Because we agreed on this vision for our life, and it may take longer, it may look different, but I love that you're choosing your reality. Yeah. And we can't have the cake and eat it too. We want the house, we want to do the pilot, but we've got to choose which one is the priority.
And here's the thing, Jackson, I'm not saying you're going to do this, but it could be very easy for someone in your situation on a long journey like this to start to feel guilty about midway through, and your wife is still supportive, she's on board for the vision, but all of a sudden you go, oh, I feel like we got to get a house, and we just slip into debt. Don't do it. Stay the course. It's going to work out. Don't move. More of your calls coming up. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 40% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show, America. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, George Kemmel, and we're here for you this hour as we answer your questions about money, about your work, and about your relationships. All three of those areas of your life, they just have a way, George, of bleeding into each other. If you're not winning in one, it tends to affect the other. And we are here for you this hour, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Let's go to Megan, who joins us in Atlanta, Georgia. Megan, how can we help?
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm a recent graduate. I just got my master's degree, and I'll be working for the first time pretty soon. And I just wanted to know how to go about establishing financial boundaries with my parents.
Uh-oh. So the very question here, George, tells me that you feel like there aren't some healthy boundaries now.
They're crossing some lines.
I'm just curious, what is the source of this? What are you concerned about as maybe not being a boundary? What's going on? Tell us a little bit more.
So I had the gracious just pleasure my last year of grad school living with a family member. And they didn't charge me at all. And they even opened up saying, like, hey, we get you're just starting out, you know, like you can stay with us longer. I definitely had planned on, you know, giving like a monetary gift monthly, even though it's not required. However, my dad is kind of like very just expectant of like, how much are you going to give? And I kind of was like, oh, I think that's for me and that family member to discuss. And
so he's not involved in this, in the actual transaction. It's not his place.
Yeah.
He's just gone, well, you should be paying him.
Well, I had already established that I am, but I guess he's kind of just like insistent on knowing how much I would be paying them and like creating like that number for me instead of me and that family member talking that ourselves.
And what has your response been to him when he's digging?
I told him, you know, that I'll talk to it with the family member, and he definitely wasn't happy about it. He said, you know, as my father, I shouldn't keep information like that. I'm being secretive. So I just want to go about like, you know, I do love my dad and everything, but I do think it's time for me as an adult to like, you know, be on my own. And so just trying to find that like balance.
All right. So let me ask a question. Is it that you don't want to pay the amount that he's suggesting, or you just don't want his input at all? And the reason I ask that is because what's the big deal with you just going, Dad, here's what I've decided. I'm happy to tell you. It's not a secret. I'm just deciding what I'm giving. And it feels like he just wants to have input. And I'm just wondering, why is it that big of a deal for you to just say to him, all right, this is what I'm paying, Dad. You want to know what I'm going to do? This is what we've arranged. And then if he disagrees, then you deal with it.
So my dad, his input, he'll say it's, you know, a suggestion, but there's an implicit thing that you kind of have to do it.
Okay, so this to you is a clear dividing line by saying, I'm not even going to tell you. It's just between me and this other family member.
Yeah.
So what is his motivation? You know him better than anyone. What do you think's behind this?
I know his motivation is definitely just to like, I know his motivation is definitely just to, I guess, make sure that family members aren't talking and thinking I'm just mooching.
There we go. It's his reputation on the line.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, okay. That's what I was digging for.
Yep.
Because the motive matters. Some parents are just going, you know, they looking out for you. They want the best for you. But this feels like if they find out through the grapevine of the family that she's only paying $300, they're going to be coming at me going, wow, your daughter's so cheap. And that's a reflection on him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is, as our friend Dr. Henry Cloud would say, you've got to draw the boundary line, the property line that marks what you're responsible for and what he's responsible for. And this is not his responsibility.
Yeah.
And if it's going to put a tear in the relationship, that's on him, not on you. And I know that's hard to say, but it may cause a rift that is unrepairable, depending on his response.
Do you think it's not? Do you think it's something that's going to last a long time, or do you think he's going to get over it eventually?
I'm hoping and praying it doesn't last a long time. You know, I definitely told my parents that I am thankful for everything, but I do think just me as an adult going forward, these are just some things I should kind of like keep to myself regarding my finances.
Yeah.
And,
so this conversation has already happened.
Yeah.
And how is it so far? What was his reaction?
He wasn't happy.
Yeah, but I understand he wasn't happy. I want to know, what was his reaction? When you say not happy, did that mean he gave you the silent treatment? Did it mean
no? He definitely, definitely blew up, which is expected.
I'm sorry.
Definitely did the whole as your father, which is expected. My mom was also not the happiest, but she's more understanding. I'm not happy, but I understand it's what you have to do.
How long ago was this?
Like a couple hours.
Oh, okay.
This is fresh.
So this is like the hot now sign at Krispy Kreme donuts. I mean, this is fresh.
Yeah.
Well, do you believe you did the right thing? Yes or no?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Parents are the best at making us feel guilty and selfish for our decisions.
Yeah, I think you have to hold the line to say, I love you too. I respect you. I'm sorry you feel the way that you feel, but I'm still your girl. Your values are intact. I'm doing the right thing, and cast a vision on what this is going to look like going forward. And so that they get their mind off of this fear that George pulled up on here. I mean, he figured your dad out pretty quick on this deal. And so there's some selfishness going on here, but it's what I would call, it's unintentional. Your dad's just worried about you, his reputation, the whole 9 yards. And you know what? He's having a hard time letting go of you.
Yeah.
So I would tell you and I feel like you have the spirit on you right now, but the spirit of grace, of understanding, compassion for dad, which is hard to have compassion for somebody that blows up on you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do you one better, Megan. We're actually going to send you a copy of our friend Dr. Henry Cloud's book, Boundary. So hang on the line, and we'll make sure you're sent that book. And it may be one you give to Dad, not passive-aggressively, but just saying, Dad, this book's been really helpful for me. I'm learning all this now as I'm becoming an adult of how to have these really hard conversations. I found it helpful, not just for this, but for all areas of life. And I think you'd get a lot of value out of it, too. I think you're right, Ken. Dad's having a hard time letting go. He's used to being able to tell the daughter what to do. She's a grown woman now. She gets to make her own decisions.
Yeah.
And based on what I heard from her, she's very respectful.
I think so too.
She's got her life together. She's not doing anything out of control.
Yeah. You know what it makes me think of? I was reading, and I'm sure you've seen these lists before. They're quite popular. In fact, there was a best-selling book written by an Australian nurse she was a hospice nurse. And she published this book on the top regrets of people who are dying.
Oh.
And one of the top 5 regrets of people who are dying is, I wish I had lived the life that was true to what I wanted to live. In other words, and as you start to unpack that phrase, you realize that these were people who made big decisions in life that pleased others.
Based on the expectations
that
of
did
others.
not please themselves. And so what happens is if you don't establish boundaries here, and you're always trying to make decisions that please others that are in absolute conflict with what you believe you should do, you are going to be a person who dies with regret. And it's that important.
Yeah. Well, I've heard this quote, and Dr. John Deloney's quoting another psychologist, physician, when he says, choose guilt over resentment.
Yeah, right.
That's the healthiest way to go about your life. Resentment will eat you alive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Guilt is something we go, okay.
Yeah. So
feel guilty for telling Dad off, but at least I'm not resentful.
So true. I'd rather disappoint somebody than resent them.
Than live an inauthentic life.
Isn't that true?
Man.
Wow. Well, Megan, we got the book coming for you. You read it and live it. It's going to be a game changer and set you free. Thank you so much for the call. All right, folks, quick commercial break. More of the Ramsey Show coming up. Don't move.
Y'all, there's a lot you can't control when it comes to healthcare, but there is something you should check out that can help. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is not insurance. It is budget-friendly, biblically based health cost sharing. That means a community of members helping share the burden of each other's healthcare costs. They help people just like you in all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Learn more today at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back, America. You are joining the conversation here on The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by George Camel. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. You got a work question? Not happy? But you're freaking out? I'm in the baby steps. Can I interrupt my income? Do I need to? You got a money question? Well, we are here for you. 888-825-5225. A lot of you are planning to move sometime soon, and that's always exciting. But we've got to get real with you here. In most places around the country, you're going to be facing some sky-high home prices. Interest rates are not going to return to their record lows anytime soon, but that doesn't make it impossible to own a home. If you want to buy or sell, you've got to make sure that you're financially ready and that you've got a trusted and experienced real estate agent to walk you through it, not Uncle Larry, who just got his license last month. You need a pro who's a true expert. You can find a high-caliber Ramsey trusted agent like that through our endorsed local providers program. And we vet the agents around the country, so you're going to get the best support, whether you're moving from Florida to Alaska or buying your first home somewhere in between. Go to RamseySolutions.com/agent. That's RamseySolutions.com/agent. Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia. Sarah is on the line. Sarah, how can we help?
Hi there. Here's my question. I am 54 years old, and I just got out of debt. I am a substitute teacher who is building her emergency fund as we speak. Is it impractical for me to dream about owning a building at my age that would house my own LLC restaurant?
Okay. And how old are you? You broke up when you told us.
Maybe that's God.
No. There's no shame in your game, but it does play into our answer. How old?
54.
Okay, 54.
Got it. And what is your current income?
Well, it's I make roughly $1,700 a month.
And how often are you substitute teaching to make that?
14 days, about 14 days, roughly a month.
Okay. And what about the other, 16 or so days in the month? Are you working?
I mean, it varies.
No. Okay.
It's not
Sounds
right
like
at
no.
14, but it just depends on. I'm classified as on call, so it just depends on when they need me, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is to figure out how we can get you closer to your goal, and income is a huge part of that. We always say that your greatest wealth building tool is your income, and Ken is so good at helping people increase that, which is a huge part of getting to this goal. You said you're in baby step 3, you're getting the emergency fund in place. That's great. Do you have anything in retirement?
No.
Okay.
So it's going to take, we've got to stop looking at time. And I understand the heart of your question, but you at this situation, the time will take care of itself. The answer to your original question, is it realistic for me at 54 to think about owning a building that I could then have a restaurant in? It's realistic, yes, based on activity and your income. And right now you are not making much money at all. And so the clock is ticking really fast for you. And so the more income you can make, then we get more realistic on what that time frame looks like. But I lived in the Atlanta, Georgia area for a long time. What area do you live in?
I live on the south side.
Live on the south side. Okay. So have you even looked at a building that would house what you want to do with it, and you have any idea what that would cost in your area?
Yes, I have looked at that.
Okay. What are we looking at cost-wise?
$178,000.
Okay. See, now we've got a number. And so how long will it take us to save up $178,000? Because we don't want you going into debt for this building. Okay? Because you really are at this stage of the game. You don't have much retirement at all. You're working through baby step 3, which is great. So this is going to have to be a get after it hustle situation. And so if the number's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that number is determined by the income that you can make. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And then we have, and did I hear you say restaurant, that you wanted to have a restaurant as well in this building?
Yes, I want to own the building and move my LLC restaurant in. I've already got my LLC status for my restaurant, but I just need a building.
Okay, but
what other costs are you running this from?
Yeah, where are you running?
I don't want to rent because it's like $7,000 or $8,000 a month, and I want to put that money toward my humanitarian efforts because I have a humanitarian edge to my LLC restaurant.
Are you running a restaurant right now?
No, we're just we exist on paper. That's it.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it's an LLC, but it's not a restaurant.
Okay.
George,
So-
I mean, we got it. This
Sarah,
is an income
I
issue.
want to be realistic.
Yes.
Based on your income right now, this dream is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Based on your income right now, we would need to increase this by a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I want to think about how does Sarah retire one day? Let's just say the restaurant doesn't happen. We need a game plan.
Yep.
So we need to figure out, how do we start investing? Do you have a home currently?
Yes.
Is it paid for?
Yes.
It is paid off. Okay, what's the home worth?
What's the what?
What is the home worth?
It's worth $80,000.
Okay, and that's pretty much all you have to your name plus your emergency
Yes.
fund. Okay.
Yes.
So I want you to start thinking about developing a plan so that 10 years from now at 64, we've developed a little bit of a nest egg by investing. That may start with a Roth IRA for you, maxing that out. But we also need to get our income up to do that. Right now, we don't have money to invest. We don't have money to save towards this restaurant, and we're not going to be able to buy a building in cash. So it may start with, I'm going to go work at a restaurant, learn the ins and outs of the business, get in with the manager, maybe take over management one day so that when the time comes, I'm ready to do this thing.
Okay.
Would you be willing to do that, to go work at a restaurant and learn all of the ins and outs of the business?
I would be willing to start from the ground up. I have a college degree, so
okay,
hopefully I'll be able to.
So Sarah, here's what I'm jumping in real quick. So we've got to start to get some real numbers for you to see. We got to get out of our head, and we've got to get some real numbers. So you've got to increase your income to the level that, as George is saying, that you actually can put 15% of your income away in baby step 4, because that's first and foremost. That's more important than the restaurant. And then after that, in a given year, you're going to have to be able to put $20,000 to $30,000 away a year, George, on minimum.
Yeah.
Just to get to the point where we can buy a $178,000, $180,000 building plus any startup cost. And I'm concerned about the startup cost of the restaurant. There's equipment.
Well, and truthfully, the rate at which restaurants fail is scary.
It's enormous.
So I want you to do so much research, do so much homework, talk to actual restaurant owners, whether they've been successful or unsuccessful. Yeah. Learn from these people before you jump in, because I'm worried at this point we're never going to be able to retire.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest concern for you right now.
I agree. And so, Sarah, this is not in any way meant to dash the dream. I just want you to have a realistic picture of what you're dealing with. You're looking at, on the low end, $20,000 to $30,000 a year that you'd have to save. You start multiplying that at 54, how many years we're talking about, and that's going to be a very sobering picture, but a picture you need to see.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's why. You could buy a building and may never launch a restaurant in it, but if you buy the building down the line and it becomes a part of your retirement strategy, or maybe you get involved in a restaurant and work your way up into management and get involved and maybe buy equity into it. I mean, the point is that why are you dreaming about a restaurant? I'm not going to make you answer that, but we may have to adjust the details of the dream, but keep the essence of the dream because of the financial realities, George. That's where we sit. And so if we can't do this, what can we do that meets that same heartfelt desire that she thinks the restaurant, this LLC,
and I'm always a fan of starting small and doing it with cash. That may mean eventually, maybe one day we have a food truck. And maybe one day that food truck becomes so successful we have the brick and mortar store.
I love the food truck.
And one day we get so successful with that, we buy the building and we own. That's the stair-stepping I want here.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Sarah, thank you so much for the call. Do the homework, get a real picture of what you're dealing with, and now you've got a plan that you can attack. Thank you again for the call. He's George Kamel. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel. 888-825-5225 is the phone number to jump in. Today's scripture of the day is Proverbs 4:25 and 26. Let your eyes look directly ahead and let your gaze be fixed straight in front of you. Watch the path of your feet and all your ways will be established. Our quote of the day, George, you must have picked this one. I know you're a big Shaq
I had
fan.
nothing to do with it, but I'm a fan.
I'd love to see you and Shaq side by side in a picture.
We've seen Muggsy Bogues out there. That's pretty
true.
much what
It's
you're going to get. You like that reference?
It's about the same thing. I love that. Today's quote from Shaquille O'Neal: excellence is not a singular act, but a habit. You are what you repeatedly do. I don't know. Do you think Shaq said that?
It feels like we could have put anyone's name there, and I would have believed it. So it's plausible.
Shaq's funny. I love Shaq. He is he had a podcast for a while. He's got some great quotes. I just don't see him saying it that way.
That one feels too serious.
It is. He's a great dude though. Very funny guy. I had a chance to meet him once, and
nice.
when he shook my hand, it was like my entire arm went into his hand. It
was like a baseball mitt.
Yeah, essentially.
Wow.
Fantastic. 888-825-5225 is the number. Providence, Rhode Island is where we go next. Jaden is there. Jaden, how do we help?
How's it going?
Good. What's going on?
Yeah, so just to briefly summarize my situation. I'm 21 years old. When I graduated high school originally, I went and took a year and a half of college. And my major I lost interest. COVID was happening. I was online, so I gained some student loans. And from there, I switched careers and I went into the ironworkers. So I'm in that union now. And I have about $9,200 of debt right now, and that's counting $500 of credit from my credit card. I'm just honestly looking for the best way or some financial advice to go from here, because I'm doing monthly payments currently, but I feel like it's just going nowhere.
Okay, so we've got about $8,700 in student loans, $500 on credit cards.
Yes.
Are those separate student loans? How many are there if you broke them out?
There's 4 separate student loans.
What's the smallest one?
The smallest one's $1,500.
Cool. So this is the way I attacked my student loan debt. It was exactly like you. I had credit card debt, student loan debt back in 2013. I had $40,000 total. And so the way I attacked it was using a method called the debt snowball method, where we lay these debts out from smallest to largest. So your credit card goes first. How quickly, if you made minimum payments on your student loans, how quickly could you attack the credit card debt? If you were working extra, selling stuff, on a budget, cutting expenses.
Next month? How quick could I?
Yeah.
I mean, right now the job I'm working on, I'm making, if I work a 40-hour week, I'm taking home about $650 a week.
Okay.
So, I mean, I have some other bills monthly, but such as car insurance and whatnot. I mean, I feel as if I could definitely pay it off in a
month or two.
Yeah, I was going to say a month and a half, 2 months if I just completely focus on it.
Great. So then you free up that credit card payment, and now we can apply that plus all the extra margin you had to the next payment and the next payment until you knock all of your debts out, smallest to largest. And on average, that takes folks 18 to 24 months. Well, with your level of debt, $9,000, I think you'll do it faster.
Okay. Sounds good.
So that's the way to do it, my man. That's it. It's that simple and it's that hard because you got to focus on one thing at a time.
Isn't that true?
And you have to not look at the interest rates, which is hard to do, and you just have to go on a vengeance.
Yeah,
with that
maniacal focus. Yeah, it's great. Linda is up next in Austin, Texas. Linda, how can we help?
Hey, thanks for taking my call today. I just retired. I'm 68 years old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yes, you should be.
72.
Say that again?
I've been working since 1972.
Wow.
That's fantastic. How long have you been retired, Linda?
Well, it's next Saturday is my last day.
Oh, so
Actually, it's retirement the second time around. I retired once in California. I moved to Austin, got a job again, and been working, and here I am. I'm
did a little encore career, and now you're sailing off into the sunset.
Now she's done. She's had it, folks. Yeah. She's out.
Plus, you get 2 retirement parties.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so what's your question?
Anyway, I have been collecting Social Security for a couple of years, and I get a pension from California, which I'm doing pretty good, monthly. I have no bills, but one thing came up here at this time. My mom passed away a couple of years ago, so I'm going to get about $114,000, and I owe $83,000 on my house, and I have a interest rate of 2.875. So my question is, the financial advisor, which I just rolled over my 401k for that company at $103,000, I rolled it over this week. She says I shouldn't pay my house off with that money. I should just reinvest it with them because the interest rate is so low.
Well, of course, Linda, the financial advisor is going to tell you to invest with them. It's like asking.
I know.
It would be like asking a gastroenterologist if you want to get a colonoscopy. You know, you're going to the wrong place for advice on debt payoff.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I know you were going to say that, but
So, not that they're a bad financial advisor, but they're incentivized to get you to invest. That's how they make money.
Yes.
That's how their brain thinks. So I would encourage you to pay off this mortgage tomorrow.
I will when
Today.
I get that check.
You're going to get a payoff quote and wire the money, and you'll still have $31,000 left.
Yeah, so then what do I do with that?
Well, so what was your mortgage payment?
My mortgage payment was, without taxes, $616.
Okay, so we've got a few extra $100 in the budget now. We have our Social Security, we have our pension.
I bring in about $4,240 between Social Security and my pension.
Awesome.
No bills.
Well, now we just got a little cushion in retirement, and now we can live and give like no one else. We can give a little more, spend a little more, and continue to invest. Do you have any other investments?
No, I just rolled that over this week to an investor, and they're going to put it in some mutual funds.
Okay.
And I've never done that before, so...
But you have no money in investments. It's all Social Security and pension right now until we get this money.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that money is rolled over. Yeah, it's here already. I just got to take it down there and give them the check next week.
Yeah, whatever's left, throw it into some mutual funds, and you can continue to pile on top of that with whatever margin you have left. But I like having a goal for giving, saving, and spending. And so let's increase our giving a little bit. Let's have Linda have a little fun, increase some of the spending line items for fun money, and then we're going to invest some as well.
Okay, so then I guess I could give it to them, or else I was just going to put it in a CD account, or just to have for in case something happens. I don't know.
Yeah, I would just park in a high-yield savings account and keep it liquid. That way, if an opportunity strikes or you want to buy something or whatever it is, you'll have that money ready to go. And you've got great rates right now with those high-yield savings accounts.
Yes, I've been looking at them, the CD rates and all that put in there for a while. So I really appreciate you. So I'm glad I'm going to go pay my house off next week on my retirement.
Linda, that's amazing. That is so fantastic to be retired and no house payment. And that's a nice little chunk of change you get to decide what to do with. And George gave you some great advice.
These are the fun problems we get to grapple with, Ken, is Linda out there.
Working days are over. Yes.
Linda, what is one fun thing that you think you'd like to do now with this extra margin?
What is the one thing?
One fun thing. I don't want to put pressure on you to say one thing, but what's one fun thing? George gave you some great advice. Celebrating this milestone, 2 milestones. What do you think you want to do?
Oh God, I don't know. I'd probably go on a vacation somewhere.
There we go. Where are you going? What's on the bucket list?
What's on the list?
I would think Paris, France, or something like that would be fun.
The City of Lights. It'd be fantastic.
Yes.
All right.
All expenses paid. No debt here, Linda. We're not going back.
You need to stay in tune with George and everything he's doing. This guy can give you all kinds of hacks on how to do Paris for less, I'm sure.
That's true.
Have you done a video yet on this?
I need to.
You probably should.
I was looking at Costco Travel at Paris trips.
See?
I got the itch, Ken.
There you go, Linda. Costco Travel. This is more than you asked for today.
It's more than America needed.
I have a Costco card. I have a Costco card, too.
Hey, Costco member, I'm a fan of that. As long as it's not the credit card. Cut up the credit card, but if it's a membership card.
No, I just use a debit card.
No, she just means to get in the building, George.
You never know these days, Ken.
Okay, I appreciate that. Hey, Linda's going to Paris.
I feel like we just sent her like Price is Right. You're going to Paris, Linda.
I know. Behind door number 3. Hey, good hour, George. Always fun to be with you, my friend. I want to thank James Childs, our fearless leader, and the entire crew behind the glass for keeping us on the air. Hey, America, this is your show. Thank you for tuning in. We believe in you. You got this. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Ken. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.